Welcome back. This is the question for round two. Should the tier levels be modernized to follow maximum yield limits instead of measuring canopy area? So if anyone would like to have any thoughts on this question, go ahead.
Hey, this is Marcus from Edgemont Group again. Just really quickly, I think yield is unfavorable. I think kind of it intrinsically motivates lower efficiency growth, and it kind of penalizes efficiency. So that's kind of where I would stand on it. I'm not clear on what problem it solves. I guess if we're trying to reduce overproduction as our number one priority, but I would be against that.
Yeah, I would agree with Marcus that, for me, the issue that got us here was inconsistency and a lack of clarity. And I think trying to do something like this, which would be incredibly complicated and brand new, will certainly exacerbate that issue and not help it. And so, yeah, I think there's a whole host of issues that this sort of proposal brings up that would be potentially problematic and make things worse for a lot of folks.
Yeah, one specific one I can think of is the waste stream. So in order to maintain a canopy, you grow as much plants as you can in that canopy, and then you trim the edges, right? So you make sure it doesn't go into the canopy. So your waste is the trimmings of a vegetated plant. But if you do a production cap, then you produce as much as you can, you throw away the junk stuff, right? So the waste, the value of the waste is higher. So as an industry standpoint, when you're looking at it from an engineering standpoint, you're adding more value to waste in the system as a whole.
I would third that I think it's a bad idea. Mainly because I don't know how you even come up with a number that would be somehow, indoor growers have the ability on tier 3 to grow so much more than an outdoor grower. You're either going to hinder them a ton and really upset them after they spent millions on their build outs, or you're going to make it so that sun growers who have a single tier 3 can grow a 90,000 square foot canopy to keep up with them. So I think it actually makes the problem a whole lot worse. And I agree with Micah in the sense that it's also it's a pretty big deal, and it would really change a lot of how everything goes on. And it seems like kind of just like rattling we've kind of gone through a lot of these rattles of late with testing changes and everything else. Like, I don't know that we need another big one like that when we could just sharpen and fix up what we have right now with canopy being square footage.
I would also second the feel, like when you grow something and you're happy when you get a plant that produces well and high quality. Whereas if you're like worrying about going over your limits, then you're like, okay, which one of these girls do I have to kill after they've already gone through and produced everything, put all my nutrients in there, put all the value into it from a grower standpoint. Mm-hmm. Now I got to chop them because I'm going to be over, So
that runs into the same issue too. Like people are going to want then whatever their limit is, they're going to want it to be their total A grade. So all their B grade is then going to get trashed or slipped out the backside. Like, what's going to happen with all that then? Like, it just opens up a can of worms, it seems like.
Would it be? I mean, someone just mentioned the difference between indoor growers who put the money into their facility versus outdoor growers who might have room to expand. Would weight system in the end be a more fair system because they would be both limited by the same target that they could produce? I mean, would it allow for fairness that maybe the,
In theory, I could see that, but I would actually see it causing way worse overproduction problems than we have now. Because for us to keep up with something large like that, what their potential is, I mean, and I don't know unless you.
Yeah, if we're looking for fairness, we can just adjust the relative canopy of indoor and outdoor like other states have done. I mean, I think the idea of like a weight limit is just kind of predicated on something that we just can't have in agriculture, which is like a consistent understanding of what the outcome of what we're doing is going to be. It's
Yeah.
not making alcohol, it's agriculture.
yeah,
And so like
Yeah.
seasonally, things are very different. Even in indoor, there's huge variety in what you get depending on what's happening. You know, like there's lots of different factors in growing a plant. And I think trying to create a regulatory structure that is based on something that's so inconsistent is inherently going to be unstable and unpredictable and going to produce some like irrational results. So I think again, like
Mhm.
I don't actually think that there's anything confusing about canopy, about the area of the canopy. And I think that was always quite clear. I think we had an issue of consistency and communication and enforcement, not necessarily like the need for dramatically different rules. And so I don't think that solving that problem is going to be achieved in tying production limits, you know, which is again going to be tied to something that's incredibly unstable.
What's the rate of non-compliance with canopy? Like, isn't there's canopy reports, right? That kind of, there's a single-digit % that had more than they were supposed to, or is that's the problem we're hunting, right? Is people that
Well-
grow too much?
Well, that's not the intention behind this, behind looking at these rules, but I mean, that's one of the factors. You know, there's how the canopy is measured, there's the consideration of overproduction. And you know, the rules are, you know, 502 is 10 years old now, so we want to look at the rules to see if there's a way that we can modernize them and reform the regulations. So that's why we're, you know, taking a look at this and finding out what, you know, what ideas are out there and if there's any change we can do. You know, we don't have to do any changes in the rules. This is just an opportunity to evaluate what we have.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't, in regarding the overproduction report, I don't have any knowledge of that, but there, I don't know how common that is.
Well, yeah, if that is part of the problem, then, you know, any regulation has teeth, and, you know, you got fines and you got whatnot, and then you got throughput. You have to, it takes effort to enforce. So more definition. I found in my life prior to this, in the regulatory industry of other stuff, 99.5% of people comply when they know exactly what you expect. So if you define canopy well, like down to the this is how it's measured, people will comply with it, in my opinion.
Mhm. Just taking some notes here. Does anyone else have any thoughts on the second question here.
What's the second question?
I guess since we have some time, I'm sort of curious if is there anyone on that thinks that moving in that direction would be a good idea?
What direction?
Grandma? 5, Grandma? Yeah. Grandma Amy?
Yeah.
5.
I did for a second consider the positives of this idea. And you know, you consider the extreme cases. So if you're no longer saying there's a limit to how many plants you have to plant, somebody goes out there and starts a 200-acre farm of fully flowered plants, and then corners the flowered plant market. You know, just sells flowered plants to other producers who fulfill their, you know, product inventory that you've set. And it's a whole different world, you know, when you imagine it that way. There's a race to scale rather than a race to quality of production, in my opinion. So you also have a lot of people that are buying product from other people and turning that into a product. So if those people were restricted from buying from 10 different sources, all of a sudden those 10 different sources got to go find a new customer somewhere. So there's a lot of different things, spin-off effects, I believe, that are scary and interesting to think about.